Well, Mayor Adams taking an unprecedented step as the city braces for a surge of asylum seekers. Now, he issued an executive order suspending several rules which require the city to provide shelter to families with children. Kathryn Kliff, an attorney with the Legal Aid Society, which serves as the court-appointed monitor for the shelter system, joining me this morning to discuss the very latest on this issue. Important issue here, Kathryn, so thank you for being here.
No problem. Happy to be here.
So we're a few days into this now, right? Take me to the beginning about how the Legal Aid Society really gets a call from the mayor's office concerning this executive order. So for the Legal Aid Society, did it come as a surprise?
Yes, it did come as a surprise. We heard from a lawyer that works in one of the city agencies overseeing homeless services.
And what was that call? Take me inside the call of what was discussed and what was really said.
So they let us know that they plan to suspend 3 local laws that provide additional protections for individuals and families in the New York City shelter system. So it does not change the fact that we still have consent decrees and court settlements that guarantee a right to shelter for people who need it in New York City, but it does change some additional protections that were put in place through local law to help minimize the harm to most families, but also individuals who are in the shelter system.
Right. So help me understand that, right? Because the right to shelter, there was a big issue last year when some of these asylum seekers were arriving. They were in an intake facility, and it was really breaking the law of the right to shelter. So how have things changed now in terms of this being suspended for a few days? There's been a lot of talk about some of these asylum seekers and their families being put into these congregate settings. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so there are 2 laws that could affect families with minor children. The first one is that there is a law in New York City that if a family arrives at the intake site before 10 p.m., they are entitled to a placement that night. So that is one of the laws that's been suspended. So that could result in families being at the intake site for many, many hours or even days. The second piece is a law that requires the city to place families in facilities that have individual rooms and also things like bathrooms and kitchens. However, there is a state law that says that all families with children must be given their own individual room with a locked door, and that law has not changed. So families should not be placed in congregate sites, but we are concerned with suspending the local law that the city thinks that they can do that, even though it would be a violation of state law.
Okay, so let's talk about that because the mayor's office actually issued a statement in regards to the executive order, and it says this is not a decision taken lightly. We'll make every effort to get asylum seekers into shelter as quickly as possible, as we have done since day one. That's from Mayor Adams' press secretary, Fabian Levy. So I guess, Kathryn, is there any legal action that the Legal Aid Society can take to challenge the executive order?
So we are currently exploring all possibilities, including litigation. But I do want to be clear that families still have a right to come and seek shelter in New York City, and they have a right to that shelter under the consent decree. So that has not changed. What has changed is the timing of the shelter and what that shelter may look like.
Right.
So it's important to remember we're not saying there's no right shelter that that the city can just turn people away to the streets. It's that the timing of when they have to place people in the facilities they place them into, that is what could change.
Right, and that's what that big issue was, with them possibly breaking the law when the first migrants are arriving, being at that intake for overnight. So as it stands, the executive order lasts for about 5 days. Is it likely to extend beyond that? What are you hearing?
That's a great question. I think when we got the call about the suspension, we were not told that it would be for such a short duration, so we are not sure. I think no one really knows how the lifting of Title 42 is going to impact New York City. For example, last night the city did place everyone in a placement by 4 a.m., even if they came in after 10 p.m.
Right.
So they have actually been meeting that legal mandate. We are obviously concerned if they are not able to do so in the future. People already wait a really long time to get shelter.
Yeah.
And adding additional time is just adding additional trauma.
Yeah, and Kathryn, you're mentioning Title 42, and I want to get your take on what exactly is happening with Title 42, because overall, the mayor is saying that there could be thousands arriving, right? And how he wants to send some of those asylum seekers upstate, which is creating some backlash. Is he legally allowed to move folks upstate to some facilities?
So if the state has granted, permission to do so, and it's my understanding the state, understood this was going to happen. People can voluntarily choose to go to a place that's offering them services. Absolutely. Obviously, if the state were to place some kind of ban on that, then the mayor could not do so. But at this point, the state was actually working with the city on these decisions to place people in other localities.
Yeah, it just seems like some of those county executives or town supervisors are saying, hey, hold on a second, we'll see how this all plays out. Kathryn Kliff, great to have you with the Legal Aid Society. Keep us posted on anything, any developments, okay?
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.